All right, good morning, guys. Today we're in Isan. We're in a little tiny town of a couple hundred people. And anyway, we came to see some family here, and we're gonna have some food from Isan. And Bun, what's the name of the town? All right, if you caught that, I'll have to share like the place where we're at. Anyway, we're gonna go and we're gonna go down to Buriram, and we're gonna check out a couple things after we eat. Now they cook this in like this ceramic pot. They throw some charcoal down on the bottom of it, and it's kind of cool. And anyway, we're gonna enjoy our food, and then we're gonna get out and start our day. So in Thai style, everybody just sits down on a mat, and then you just put out the food, and it's all community, and you just eat whatever is in front of you. So this is where they cook the chicken. So you open up this right here, and then they have the coals down in the bottom. It's a ceramic pot, and then they have the little hooks to grill the chicken. Very country style. All right, so here we are at Panom Rung National Park, or Vast Mountain. So we're gonna go inside and check this out. Coming over here was kind of fun. Went through some farmland, saw a lot of rice paddies and sugar cane and tapioca and mango trees, the whole thing. So it's very rural. It's a little further than I thought out of Buriram. I thought it was basically inside of Buriram, but this is still, I don't know, it's about 45 minutes outside of Buriram. But worth a drive to come up here just to go up this little volcanic peak, because this is on a little, like, this is a former volcano. So you're up here on the top of it, and you're like 400 meters above the valley floor. So right next to the entrance, they have an exhibition hall, which is a nice little museum. And before you go in, very nice to go in there and stop and take a look, and you can read about the history of this temple, also some of the other Khmer temples that are in what they call the Narentratitaya loop. There's a bunch of temples like Srisaket, Surin, and other temples in Buriram that the Khmer built whenever they were, you know, controlling this region. And it's just to the left of where you go in to the tickets. So to get into here, it's a national park, so you got to pay. Thai price is 30 baht, and foreigner price is 150 baht. The dual pricing system strikes again. Anyway, today was supposed to be a free day. The Tourism Authority of Thailand announced that from the 25th to the 3rd of January, it's supposed to be free to anyone that wants to come. But in normal Thai style, they changed it in the middle of the promotion, and they said, oh, tomorrow is free, which tomorrow, whenever you come here tomorrow, it may not be free. So you never know. Anyway, we're here at the top of this volcano. So when you come in, you got to climb some steps to get up into the temple area. And these are all stones that the guys carved and brought up here. So what this temple's name means is, it's like, the literal translation is like vast mountain. Because you're on a mountain peak up above like the central plain. And you're on the rim of this dormant volcano. And you can see the volcanic rock all around. Looks like right there is a former pedestal for a Buddha shrine. So when you climb up to the top of the steps, you get to see the main complex. And a chance for some photo ops. And we have some more buildings over here. So this temple is pretty old. It was built in like the 10th to the 13th century, and it was part of the Khmer Empire that went down into here. And it was originally built as a temple for Shiva. And there's some things I read about it, how, you know, they did certain things like using human skulls as like containers and some other stuff like that. So kind of some weird stuff with that. And then, you know, with the early days of the Angkor Kingdom, they were Hindu. And then like in the late 1180s or so, they started converting into Buddhism. So everything after that period will all be Buddhist. So let's go and let's look at this. So to get up to the temple, right now we're walking down what they call the royal walkway, which is what they kind of figure out that this is what it was used for, is the royals would walk. And it's 160 meters from start to finish, and it's 9.2 meters wide. And it has these little stones that they have set up that are supposed to resemble lotus buds. And you just walk right down the royal walkway all the way up to the main complex. So these massive stones that they brought in, you see these holes, and what they did is they would actually carry them with some wooden like sticks, and then they would set them in place, and then they break the sticks off after they set them in place. It's the only way to move these big rocks. So at the end of the royal walkway, and some more stones here, you gotta kind of come over a threshold, and what you see now, you still see back then. You see the Naga guardians, and they carved these out of sandstone. So what you're seeing here is stuff that's about 1,000 to 1,200 years old, and you can still see the detail work. And just imagine, this was all done with like a stone chisel, and they would have carved this out of sandstone. Which the sandstone is easier to work with than like the harder base stones of the temple, but still would just be some serious work to carve that, plus some real skill to make it into that image. Now let's climb up these stairs and see over the hill. So this is what they call the stairwell of 5 flights and floors. So there's 5 floors and there's 52 steps up to the top. Now from some of the writings that they have uncovered, there was supposedly 2 lion structures, or 2 lion statues on each side of the stairwell. And then they had holes like you see there for these. They had flags that they would stick in, and for like special occasions they would display some flags here on the stairs. So let's go up these 52 stairs. Seems like every temple you go to, there's going to be a million stairs to climb, which is just part of the deal. So looking back, that was the royal walkway and the 5 flights and floors. Stairs right here. And we turn around, and here is the building. Just fantastic. Wow, that's really nice. Now in the 70s, the Ministry of Fine Arts in Thailand, they spent 17 years refurbishing this. So it was kind of in bad repair, so they came in and they fixed it up, so you see what you see now. This is really nice. Wow. And I have some little lily pads here on each side. This is really beautiful. So this just shows the power that the Angkor Kingdom had at the time. I mean, it was just a massive kingdom stretching all through this region. When you go to Angkor Wat or places like that, you get to really appreciate what these people were capable of. And then just like most kingdoms, you know, they reached their pinnacle of power. The youth stopped, you know, knowing how to do things. Around Siem Reap, you know, they stopped being able to maintain the canals, so the food ran out, and the whole place collapsed. So you can see some of the stonework that they did in the entrance. So they set these stones, and then they had put them in a certain way, and then they'd use you know, they'd build the foundation and then they would come in and they would do like a rough outline of the sketch, and they would just keep making this deeper and deeper until you get the final outline that you see here. So inside of here is the normal type construction that you see out of the Khmer, where they have the central structure, and then they'll have like the libraries and all that's positioned around in like the open courtyard. And you can see some more of these. So the Fine Arts Department in the 70s, they spent 17 years restoring this, and it's definitely worth it. And they would work these stones to where they just fit together perfectly. And they would just build the structure. They would use sometimes they would use some like support structures, but most of the time it was just the rocks that fit together perfectly. So this one right here is the dancing Shiva. So these little two towers right here were built in the 10th century. It says it's in the Khmer and Pre-Rup styles. So it's still standing. It's like the ones on the other side have all fallen down. And then you have the same right there. So at the base of these little pillars, a lot of times you'll see these carvings like this. And these are the hermits that are praying. So this is to represent like the cow. There's some story about a 1,000-headed snake that was venomous and attacked the cows until it ran out of venom. And it's something to do with, I don't know if it's why the cows are so sacred in India or not. I'm not up on all of my Hindu lore. Alright, so you see those carved right above the doorway. Those are the 5 yogis. So you have, the middle one is Shiva, or an incarnation of Shiva, and then the 4, 2 on each side, are the followers of Shiva. This is pretty interesting. This is a symbol of Shiva. So people would come here and pray to this. And then over here, they actually would have had holy water in the middle, and it would have flowed through the drain that they had carved into the stones to right here. And then it would go out of the complex from here. So you could come in and get the holy water and make a blessing. Just amazing how many stones they cut and hauled. And it always amazes me how hard the old timers worked. I mean, they just carved these stones and they carried them, and there was no machinery at all. It was just manpower. Here it looks like they have a lotus that they've carved into the stone and the window. And you can see how it's constructed. They cut them at 45-degree angles around there, and they fit it in perfectly. No mortar, just carved them to where it fits like a glove. So they're part of the courtyard with the central structure, and then the libraries that were around it, and then the outer wall. And you can see the holes that were notched to carry those big stones into place. And again, just fit perfect with no mortar. And they notched it to where it would fit and support itself. Serious work. You can see the detail work that they carved into all of that all the way up. Just amazing. All right, so here it is from the backside. Now you can park on this side and walk right up to it. The parking lot is just about 50 meters away. But I think coming up the Royal Walk is much better. You get a better feel of the whole structure. You can sit right here and you can look right through into the center complex, through the outer wall, and then you can see the Shiva statue right there in the middle. So this is kind of a view of the surrounding countryside. So this is just a little volcanic like crater up here on the top of this little mountain, and you're about 403 or so meters up above the valley floor. So a great place to stick a tall building. So you can see how they carved the steps here. Now these sandstone was quarried about 30 kilometers from here, and they had to quarry it and then haul it up to this location. So they would have had to climb all the way up this mountain. Now they restored this. These are the restoration here, but they have some of the original Naga also. So this one over here is the original, along with the one right next to it. And they had some theft. So the ones that were here that have been replaced were stolen, but some of them have been recovered and brought back and put back onto this temple. So the Naga all face in the cardinal directions. And then right here in the center of this bridge is a 8-petaled lotus that they've carved into the stone, and you can just barely see what's left of it. So as you can see here, this is 1,100 years old or so, and that's the original. And then they had to restore it here. You can see where they've poured the concrete to kind of attach the Naga back onto the original railing. Alright guys, so that finishes up our tour of the vast mountain, or as the Thais call it, Phanom Rung. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The ruins are spectacular. Definitely worth a stop. And I will leave a description of, or show on the map where this place is at, so if you want to come and see it. And as always guys, remember, if you like the video, make sure you click like and subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already, and share it with your friends. And if you want to leave a comment, if you've been to this, tell me down below. If you've been to Angkor Wat, you know, Angkor Wat is way amazing compared to here, but just the size. This is as good, like the construction is really, really nice. It's as good as that, just on a much, much smaller scale. So anyway, guys, remember, life is a journey, so enjoy.